Hi, I'm Ted Staunton, and if you're watching this, you probably already know that I make up stories for people. And when I'm lucky, they get turned into books so that I can share them with you. Well, today I'd like to talk a little bit about picture books. The stories in picture books are among my very most favorite. They're short, but they're tricky to write. And I thought in the next few minutes we could talk a little bit about how those stories get written, how the pictures get drawn to help tell them, how the books get made, and how you could try to make a picture book of your own. And along the way, I'm going to share a little bit of a brand new picture book that I've made with my good friend Ruth Ohi that nobody has seen yet. So, picture book stories. Now, I've written a whole bunch, and I can tell you that even though they're called picture books, they actually begin with the words. It's up to me to make up a story that book will become. So, let me show you what a story looks like before it gets pictures or before it gets turned into a book. Here's a little bit of a story that this is what it looks like at my house as I'm thinking about it. And if I hold these up, you can see, well, it's a mess. That's because I change my mind a lot as I'm writing a story. Now, when I scratch out and scribble over, that doesn't mean I've made a mistake. What it means is I've thought of a way to make my story even better. And I want it the best it can be so that you'll enjoy it the most that you can. I change my mind about many things. Did I pick exactly the right words? The funniest or most exciting or scariest or saddest things to happen? Did I get my ideas in the best order? Is it too long or is it too short? There's many, many things to decide. Well, I change my mind a whole lot, as you can see. And when I've got my story to the best I think it can be, I make a good copy. And I bet you have done that at school. So, here's what a good copy will look like. A lot tidier. Now, a little secret here. I don't know how well you can see it, but as I move my finger down, maybe you'll notice that I have written down page numbers. I've decided how much of my story should go on each page of my book. Now, that sounds kind of odd until I tell you a little secret about picture books. Before you write them, in fact, you know how many pages will go in the book. There's a magic number. It's 32. And I'll explain why in a little bit. Well, when I've got my story ready to share with other people, off it goes to an artist. Now, I mentioned my friend Ruth Ohi. Ruth and I have been working on a book, and let me show you how Ruth began to draw her pictures. Because just like me, Ruth begins by doing a rough copy and changing her mind. So, here's what Ruth first drew for the beginning page of our book together. And you can see that Ruth has drawn, well, for me this would be a super good drawing. For Ruth, this is just a very fast sketch. Here's the words that are going to go with this picture, and you can see, kind of sort of, it's a picture of a girl, and looks like she's jumping or skipping, and she's carrying something that's swinging along behind her. Now, it's hard to see this picture, but really it's not much more than a stick figure. We've got a couple of circles, we've got some stick figure legs, a line for that girl's arm. Just a start, just an idea. So Ruth thinks more about what this might look like, and she draws the picture again. There's the girl. This time, Ruth has put her in a living room. You can see that she's running past the couch. The words are now tucked into the picture, and there's that line. There's a line running off the edge of the page. So we don't see what the girl has with her anymore. We're going to have to turn the page to find out. Well, let's have a look. Here's what the good copy, the final good copy of that picture looked like when it went into our book. Here's the book. It's called Friends for Real. There's Ruth's name and mine on the cover. And there's two friends. And I'll show you the same picture with just a little peek at how the story turned out. Now here's the very first page of Friends for Real. This is called the title page. And if you make a book at home, you should put one of these in too. Then there's a special page that tells everything about who made the book. because lots of people helped besides Ruth and I. And then an extra special page called the dedication, where you get to dedicate your story to somebody very special to you. And here's the first page of story, and this is the one that has the picture that we've been looking at. Here's how Ruth finally decided the picture would look. Now we're outside, maybe in a park. And again, you can't see what's at the end of that line. So let's just have a look at a few of the pages. The story begins like this. Pets made Emma sneezy, so Emma had Squeezy. Squeezy was puffy and perfectly huggable. He could fly sometimes. He liked the same things as Emma, hid her broccoli for her, kept secrets, and was never scared of the dark. Squeezy was also quiet. One day, while soaring to the clouds in the park, Emma and Squeezy lost each other. "Squeezy!" Emma called. "Who are you calling?" asked a boy driving a bulldozer. He's got good imagination. "My pet," said Emma. "We were flying. He's green. Have you seen him?" "No, but I'll help," said the boy. "Squeezy!" The boy was not quiet. Squeezy could not be found. Emma felt sadder than sad. She had other pets, but they didn't listen as well as Squeezy. Not one liked exactly the same things as her. None fit the perfect hug, and they were all too quiet. With her last sniffle, Emma knew she needed a new pet. Now I'm going to stop right there to save that story for when it's ready for everyone to share and enjoy. Well, Ruth and I created that story, and then it got put together in a book, and I just showed you the book. I mentioned that the story has 32 pages inside it, and in fact, little secret, all picture books have 32 pages inside. That's because of the way they actually get made. And I'll show you a teeny bit of how that works. I'm going to use one of my old books called Puddleman. This is what the pages of a book look like before you get to read them. The pages are made in a big factory where they make many, many, many copies of the book. And to do it fast and to make sure there's no mistakes, they don't make a whole bunch of page 1s and a whole bunch of page 2s and put them together later. Instead, what they do is they print the whole book on one giant size piece of paper in a giant copying machine. The pieces of paper look like this. There's one half. Ah! There's the other half, and I'm in here somewhere. This was one big piece of paper. It came out of the copying machine, it got split in two, and it got folded up. Let's fold one of these up, like so. There's the beginning of my book. The other side gets folded up. There's the next part. It goes into a cover, like so. All the folded edges get chopped off, and it's ready to share with you. Well now, if you know how many pages are in a book, that can be a fun way to get you started on making your own. So I thought I'd show you a teeny bit of how you might make a book at home. If you have a good idea for a story and you want to put pictures with it, you could try something like this. Get 3 pieces of paper and fold them in the middle. The outside can be your cover. You can see I've decorated mine with the only title I could think of, My Book. And I put my name there to show that it's mine. Inside, I put down that letter C in a circle that says copyright, and I put my name and 2020 because this is when I made my book. Then that special dedication page. Here I've dedicated it to my friends. And then I have 8 pages to write and draw pictures on and share a story. And I don't know how well you can see it, but I've put a number on every page so that if I want to, I could take my book apart and work on any page I wanted to. and I'd always know where it fits together. And at the back, on the very last page, this will be the back cover of my book, I've put something about me. I've got About Ted. There's a picture that looks just like me. And I've written, Ted has written lots of books. He likes stories, playing his guitar, and especially hamburgers. Happy reading. That would be a great place for you to tell about yourself. You don't have to make a fancy book. All you need is some paper, some pencil crayons, stapler to hold it all together, and your imagination. And you know, that's how I got started writing stories. I'll show you one last book to finish up. This is the very first story I ever wrote, and the very first book it got put in. It was called Revenge of the Puddleman. And you can see I drew my own pictures. I printed as neatly as I could. I colored in. I tried to make each page look different by moving the words and pictures around. Sometimes small pictures, sometimes big pictures, but I hope all of them fun. And when I was done, I was ready to share this with other people. And of all the books I made, I think this is my favorite because I made it all by myself. Well, I hope you make a book of your own. I hope you enjoy lots of stories by me and by other people. And I hope you watch for Friends for Real. It's published by Scholastic Books, and it will be ready to share with people this June. In the meantime, my friends Richard Scrimgeour and Kevin Sylvester and Leslie Livingston and I are all making videos together and putting lots of things out there for people to watch and enjoy. And I hope you do lots of happy reading as well.